I went into this album, Starface by Tyga, not knowing pretty much anything about the controversy, let's call it. Well, if you clicked on this video, you probably know what I'm referring to. But for right now, let's just call that foreshadowing. What I did know was that Anthony Fantano did not like it. I didn't watch the video because I'm not really a Fantano fan. Not that he sucks necessarily, but like, just not a fan. And I guess that's the only thing I knew about it going into it. I had previously listened to, what was it, Statica by Avenged Sevenfold, which was interesting. I'll call it that. I did not really think it landed. It was a very misguided project in my eyes. There's a little bit of respect for that project in specific for like having the balls to do that. Not only do that, but put it out there. But like as a complete package, without the context of Avenged Sevenfold being a metal band in their whatever late 40s, maybe early 50s, I have no clue. It was a head scratcher. I'll leave it at that. So needless to say, like my bar for like interesting music was pretty low. And I like it when artists can experiment with their sound. I loved it when Linkin Park did it. That might be a hot take. But it's kind of cool. I mean, I'm an artist myself. I make music, but it's cool to see other artists kind of branch out from what they're expected to do. I do think that the audience never knows what they want. They might think they know what they want, but the most profound art, I think, comes from a place where the audience doesn't expect it, but it resonates with them anyways. So that's my personal context going into this album, Starface by Tyga, and kind of how I listen to albums now, especially when like I've heard questionable things about it. Is I'll listen to the singles first in order, and then I'll start the album top to bottom. So I did exactly that. I listened to the singles. There were two, I forget what they were, but there were two singles for this album. And then I started from the top and just listened down all the way through. Except that's a lie because I did not listen all the way through. About 4 tracks in, I had to shut it off. And I'll get to that. But first track, again, I don't even know what these songs are called. They're so forgettable. But I heard the song, I'm like, alright. You know what? Like an 80s vibe. It's done pretty faithfully. Okay, cool. The vocal production is interesting, but hey, it's okay. It works. The lyrics were abysmal. Let me just say that. Lyrics were terrible, but the production, vocal production, it was alright. It was alright. I don't like it when like songs have a lot of like low mid-range. This is just like music jargon, right? But like more specifically around like 200 to 500 hertz, like people just boost that because, well, my theory is that it makes it sound more full like on a cell phone where a lot of people are going to be listening. But I mean, you listen to like Thriller by Michael Jackson, it's like that sounds great on an iPhone or a stereo sound system or a car or loudspeakers. It it doesn't make sense. Why would you muddy up the sound with that low mid frequency range? So I don't like that. But this album did not have that. So I was like, okay, wait, maybe like the production is actually decent. So the first song goes by clunky lyrics everywhere. I don't like clunky lyrics. Like, come on, you're an adult, write full lyrics, I guess. And then the second song comes around. At that point, I was thinking like, all right, that was like a decent first song, but I don't remember any of it. I don't remember what the synth line was. I don't remember what the bass line was. I don't remember what the melody was, what the lyrics, what they were talking about was. So that was like red flag number 1. So track 2 rolls around. I don't even know what it's called. I don't even know what I thought about it because it was just so forgettable. But again, like the vocal production was pretty middling. And remember, my bar is really low because Statica was the last thing I like listened to. Actually, that's not true. I listened to Speakerboxxx The Love Below by Outkast, and that's a good album. That is a good album. It's a little weird, but like in a human way. And it works. I think that Statica was human, but in a flawed way. And this album, well, I'll get to that. So track 2 comes and goes. Track 3 is like, okay, now we're talking about Cars. I think that's the one. We're talking about Cars. And it's just like the most shallow, like surface things. At this point, I'm thinking like, I don't even know what to think about this album so far. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a hidden gem like people look back on in 10 years or if it's just literally bad. Like, I feel like my example for a hidden gem that people look fondly upon 10 years later is 80s and no, what's it called? Heartbreak and 808s and Heartbreaks. Cut that out of the video. I can't be messing up that. 808s and Heartbreak by Kanye West. But that album works because of the vulnerability that Kanye shows in his lyrics. With the album like Statica, there is not much vulnerability. It's just the superficial sound, right? The auto-tune, the vocoders, the crazy like weird production, pitch shifting and all that stuff without the vulnerability. So like I'm thinking in my brain, is Starface gonna be one of those? I'm a little ashamed to say, but I was fully ready to like listen to this album like multiple times to try and like see if there's any sort of artistic merit behind it. But when track 4 rolls around, I had to put it down. So track 4 comes on. I'm like, okay, a little bit more upbeat here. And again, like just nothing lyrics. They're not even like so stupid that they're good. They're just like nothing. I feel nothing. I think they're clunky. They don't fit. They don't flow. Then I noticed some stuff, right? There's an instrumental section in that song, I think towards the end, or maybe just in the second half in general. And a lot of things just didn't make sense, right? There was like a synth line that would kind of phase in and out and also phase left and right. You know, I get like you can automate elements of a mix to phase left and right, but it felt like it didn't serve the song. It was just there to create movement, create excitement without any real purpose. And then the other thing was the drums, right? I feel like this whole album is, right, like an 80s inspired nostalgia trip, really. That's what it's supposed to be. Like, neon lights, Miami, Florida, like that kind of vibe. But like I feel like if you're gonna do that sound, the drums have to be pretty punchy. The drums have to be kind of bouncy. They got to have like a little bit of like even if they're not like super loud, right? They have to have some kind of hit to them. And well, in that song, in that instrumental section, the drums just do not hit. So now in my brain I'm thinking like, well, if someone can like recreate this 80s vibe like pretty decently, how do they not know how to make drums hit? And then that's when the realization hit me. This is AI. These are at the very least AI drums. I don't know about the voice, but these drums are AI. These like synthesizers are AI, because like I said, it kind of like phases in and out. That's like a indication for me when I hear AI music. There's just some kind of like phasing to it. When you put a microphone in front of a guitar to record it, or like plug a guitar into an interface or an amp or whatever, it sounds very clear because there's nothing else going on. I mean, like, sure, you could load it with some effects, but if you do it well and it's executed well, the guitar or the synthesizer or whatever instrument should be still remaining very clear. With an AI track, it's just like it phases. Like the high frequencies will be like cut off and then reintroduced, and then the volume will kind of like fade up and down. Like it doesn't sound. It literally doesn't sound real, because it's not. So that's why I said before I was kind of ashamed to like be like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this a bunch of times and see if there actually is artistic merit, because there literally is none. So before like the track 4 even ended, I turned it off. I didn't want to listen to the rest of the album, knowing that it's probably AI. At least in my eyes. That's what I thought before, and then I looked it up online. I just searched Tyga, Starface into YouTube, and yep, as just as I predicted, there were videos saying like this is AI. He used AI. He says he used an AI tool to do the instruments. He doesn't say that he used it for his voice, but you know, that's not like the save that he thinks it is. And there were just so many people like clowning on it, not only because it was, you know, bad, and I don't even think it was all that bad. That's the thing, because like AI will create stuff that is technically good, but it's just so safe and sterile, and there's no, I mean, for lack of better words, there's no soul to it. It's literally a robot. But yes, in fact, people were clowning on this so hard because he used AI on it. Like, don't do that. And I watched some like reaction videos from other people like reacting to the album, and I know like YouTube compresses their audio on the platform, and also like maybe the creators who did video reactions and reviews, they also compress their audio or whatever. But the warbling really, really comes through. the warbling, the phasing for like the instruments is what I mean, right? It really comes through, and it is like, how did I not hear that the instant the first song came on? I think it's because I wanted to believe that, hey, he's trying something new. He used to be like the Rack City guy, but now he's trying something new, and new as in, of course, like nostalgia. So it's not really new, but new for him. Man, I want to believe that we could have cool things, but we can't have cool things because people aren't putting in the time to actually create them. But in a weird way, like this whole situation, I guess, gives me some kind of hope, right? It gives me hope that people are clowning on Tyga for using AI, and even though he admits it, it's like people using steroids, right? Like they might admit that they use steroids, but like you're still using steroids. It gives me hope that like people are saying like, no, screw you for this. It sucks. We don't want this. And a lot of those voices are from young people, right? And I mean that gives me hope because I mean it sounds crude to say, but old people who are shilling for AI, they won't be around for that much longer. It's like us young people who are gonna have that's gonna be our future if we let it happen. And so we say we're not gonna let it happen. And I'm kind of glad this situation happened because it gave me like a hope. I was starting to run out. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm a usually pretty optimistic, hopeful guy when it comes to rejecting AI, but it was starting to wane on me until this album. I kind of hope that like someone out there on the internet like remakes this album, but like actually makes it instead of generating it, and then maybe like rewrites the lyrics or whatever. But like do an actual production, write like actual synthesizers, record them for real, and I hope that version like blows up way more than the original. I was thinking about doing that myself, but I mean I don't have time for that. I would rather just create human art than try to mock AI art, even if it sucks. And so that's what I'm gonna do. Do yourself a favor and don't listen to this album. You're not missing out on anything. I think the drama behind it is pretty funny if you're into that kind of thing. But with that, I'm out. Peace.